All right, guys, we're going to delve into a little poetry. We're going to get incredibly refined, and we're going to alight on the magic carpet ride of poetry. I love poetry. Who doesn't love poetry, right? And Star Trek
Maximum warp
has given us some really cool poems. Now, there's not many. There's certainly not dozens. There's not even a dozen, but there's several, and I wanted to share them with you. I'm sure you're aware of them. I'm sure you know of them. If not, let's go down the poem journey. Wax poetic with Star Trek.
fascinating.
Okay, now the first poem on all of Star Trek in the first episode. Well, technically the second pilot. So it's the second episode and it's the second pilot, and that's Where No Man Has Gone Before. And of course, it's Gary Mitchell, our Q-like, Charlie X-like, God-like crewman who's been given fantastical godlike powers, and he's still, though, subject to love. And who is he in love with? Elizabeth Denner, or at least in Lust and Like. And he reads a poem. Well, he reads an excerpt of it, of this sonnet. And it's from Nightingale Woman, a poem by Tarbald, written in 1996 on the Canopius planet. It was said in the 23rd century to be one of the most passionate love sonnets of the past couple of centuries. And here it is. My love has wings, slender, feathered things, with grace in upswept curve and tapered tip. Now, it's really interesting when you look this up. It said that Gene Roddenberry wrote it, but he wrote it as an ode and a love sonnet to his plane because he was a pilot in the war. And so his perspective in that wonderful expression of love was to his airplane, to his aircraft. Okay, now we go to a little android poetry. A little machine intelligence, artificial intelligence, right? Artificial intelligence, anyone. We're all talking about a ChatGPT, Data is certainly AI, and he's also a poet. This is from the episode Schisms. Now, in the episode, it opens and he's giving a poetry recital, and the crew is being very polite, and Riker's getting a little bit on the sleepy side, and he recites a few poems. Here's his first poem. Then we sat on the sand for some time and observed how the oceans that cover the world were perturbed by the tides from the orbiting moon overhead. How relaxing the sound of the waves is, you said. I began to expound upon tidal effects when you asked me to stop, looking somewhat perplexed. So I did not explain why the sunset turns red, and we watched the occurrence in silence instead. Now, might not be too long, but it's got a nice rhythm there, doesn't it? But for the Enterprise D crew members there, it wasn't really that much of a happy time, but Data did not stop at that. No, siree. He had to give an ode to a four-footed friend, to his pet Spot, to his cat. And here it is. Felis catus is your taxonomic nomenclature, an endothermic quadruped, carnivorous by nature. Your visual, olfactory, and auditory senses contribute to your hunting skills and natural defenses. I find myself intrigued by your subvocal oscillations, a singular development of cat communications that obviates your basic hedonistic predilection for a rhythmic stroking of your fur to demonstrate affection. A tail is quite essential for your acrobatic talents. You would not be so agile if you lacked its counterbalance. And when not being utilized to aid in locomotion, it often serves to illustrate the state of your emotion. Oh, Spot, The complex levels of behavior you display connote a fairly well-developed cognitive array, and though you are not sentient, Spot, and do not comprehend, I nonetheless consider you a true and valued friend. You gotta love it. I mean, who doesn't love their pet, their cat? And in Data's case, he seared into everyone's memory for all time just how indispensable and loving a companion is to his pet cat, Spot. So that's about it. All throughout the episodes and such, we have mentions of poems, references, but that's about the only original poetry I can find. Maybe you guys can find more. Shoot me some comments, message me, feedback me. Hope you guys are loving the channel. Subscribe if you can, and we'll see you soon.